We're back, dude.
Hey, we did it.
That little pilot episode was fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, it's nice to have like actual topics
Yeah,
to talk about, relevant ones.
I like it.
So, fun stuff. So here we are, and it's February 8th, at least when we're filming this thing.
Yeah.
And the news, at least to me, from my Twitter feed, and probably news clips if you follow any news at all, Rumble offers Joe Rogan $100 million.
No, is it true?
Yes. Yesterday, an official letter was sent. It was tweeted, and it was basically like their letterhead saying, Joe Rogan, come to our platform for $100 million over 4 years. Okay. Uncensored.
And
that's kind of the...
Well, what was his deal with? Wasn't it $100 million?
It was $100 million with Spotify.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was paid out like over time.
Make it like 110 or 101 or something.
Well,
so
I don't want to put names because I don't want this to get political. But one of the guys I follow who's involved in this, his startup got acquired by Rumble, I think.
Okay.
Another sort of free speech platform. He came out today and said, "That's a starting." Like, talk to us. I might be saying too much, but that's a starting price.
Yeah.
100 mil. And for me, it's like, if he's pulling like the numbers that I think he's pulling, that people are saying he's pulling, which he clearly is, if everybody's talking about it, right? I would think you would pay him anything he wants. Yeah. Like he would literally, I don't know the percentage, but I'm assuming that his listeners would just follow him.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's worth, to me, more than $100 million if you're thinking about it like from a startup perspective, right? Mm-hmm. Rumble probably almost indefinitely, like there's no way they have $100 million in cash right now.
No.
I think what happened is they've got a couple of people on deck.
Yes.
If you can make this deal happen, I want to invest in this, right? Because it could potentially be the number one like platform overnight.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, here's the thing too. So I was when you were talking about it. So because of the whole issue with Joe Rogan, Spotify lost $4 billion in market value.
Ooh.
Because of, I guess, Neil Young was like, I want to.
Yeah, and he was just the beginning of.
Yeah, and a couple other people, but
a few other people.
At the same time, like they lost $4 billion. What's $100 million at that point? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's inconsequential.
Yeah.
Did you see all the memes?
No.
Of course, like it's like Neil Young. I mean, he's a legend, right? But it's like kind of like, who's really listening to Neil Young on Spotify? I saw some memes of like Nickelback threatening. You see these?
Oh no!
Oh yeah, awful. They came out of the woodwork.
Oh,
so
no.
There's some funny ones. Nickelback was a funny one. I saw one that said that Yoko Ono was threatening to put her music on Spotify. But there's some fun stuff there.
Fun.
But
yeah, good fun.
I don't know. I think it's a juicy offer.
Yeah,
especially
really
if he's got some of that Spotify money already.
Yeah. Well, and he's probably overthinking his podcast now too, right? He's like, okay, I got to do this or do that, or you know, just be easier. Just set him free.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Crazy stuff.
Interesting. Wow.
Twitter.
What's up?
Announces articles. I haven't seen it on my update yet, and I think it's probably a slow release or probably one of those beta ones that goes to certain people. It's supposed to be long form content on Twitter. So I wonder, I don't know. I think it could work. The Spaces thing is a little weird for me. The audio, the Clubhouse feature, I almost never go on there. Even when it's someone that I care about. Yeah. I just don't find myself sitting there listening to a live conversation. No. It's a little weird for me. Right. But the articles thing I read about is interesting. The subscribe, the group thing, I have seen on my Twitter. And I actually got into the all-in-one. And I was a little unclear what it was at first. But now I get it, because now that I have the feature, you can essentially tweet to just a group.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So only people that are subscribed to you see the tweets. So it's a completely independent feed.
Interesting.
And then you can follow as many groups. You can create a group.
It's like a thread almost.
Yeah.
But bigger.
I don't find myself there often, but it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll take off.
Yeah.
But the articles thing is interesting.
I wonder, it sort of feels a little bit like they're trying to mitigate other platforms from like encroaching, right? Like maybe it's like Medium. They're like, we don't want people to just go to Medium every time for this and that. So like, just keep them here, you know? Interesting.
Could be. What do you got? I got some other
I'll
juicy stuff.
Let me look at my list here. I'll go into Stadia. Stadia's running into some trouble.
Okay.
So it's not meeting the metrics that Google has in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently they're, and I forget the term they use. They sort of like devalued it, or they kind of like demoted it within the Google organization. Like, I don't know how that works, but apparently like only like 20 or 30% of the people who were working on Stadia are still on it. And the rest of them are actually looking at like third-party integration. So they're actually doing a thing now with Peloton. Mm-hmm. So you can actually play Peloton, like games on your Peloton.
Stadia games?
Stadia. Well, they're going to be Peloton games. Yeah, they're going to be Peloton. Like,
but they're using the streaming technology.
Yes, exactly.
Stadia.
That's the idea. So it's like this real time, the streaming thing. And so they're just going to start licensing it out for different applications.
So you game. So what's the difference to you? For example, we've got the Stadia here set up. We've been playing the Star Wars game.
Yeah.
And as far as I can tell, there's no lag or anything weird.
Right.
Performance seems fine. But I'm not a big gamer.
Right.
If you had that on a console, what would be the difference for you?
Nothing, really. Maybe just the fluidity of it, because you're still getting compressed 4K, right? You're not getting like uncompressed. So if you had like a PS5 or something like that, like it would be sharper, cleaner, faster. Do
you think gamers care about that?
Some do, but the thing about Stadia, and I'll say this, is I think if you look back at some of the initial announcements and the sort of the big, introduction to what Stadia was supposed to be, the problem has been, in my opinion, that the promise never kind of matched up. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that they really promised was that games could now sort of take advantage of an entire server array, right, to do things. So it wasn't limited to the CPU in a box in your living room. But the problem is that then they canned their whole development team. So none of the games that they have, they're just basically porting over games that were on a PC or on a PlayStation anyway, without any upgrade. So there's nothing better about doing it on Stadia than it would be if you had a console. That's a problem, right? Because you're not going to convince anybody. But if it was like, you can do this and like the game is completely different. Like the graphics are just like unlike anything you've ever seen, that just burn a hole through your Xbox. That would be worth doing, but it's not. It's just the same exact game. So, and then on top of that, there was the promise of like this really strong social integration where you can go live, you can look up, you can like pause the game and watch videos on like people who've done that level and all this kind of stuff. There's this whole social component that they were going to include in it, and it's really nowhere. It's nowhere. So I think they kind of overpromised it a little bit. And I think honestly they're a little ahead of their time for what they're trying to do. But they're just having issues.
They never integrated their Google social network.
Google Plus.
No,
but they did throw the assistant on there. You can see the button that's there. And I don't get it. Like the only time I use it is when I like accidentally hit it and it goes dee-dink, and it's like, I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. Like turn that off. So I don't
ever
know.
Say Google Plus again.
Yeah, dude, I got shamed by Gary Vee.
He totally shamed you.
And that was years ago. Yeah. So we can't say.
There's a video of that on our
he
channel.
He called me out.
Yeah. So on this Google train, Google is changing the Chrome logo.
Yes.
How could you
Yes.
change the Chrome logo? Man? Explain this to me.
Well, if
Because
here,
it's so iconic.
well, let me show you what they did. Okay,
shit.
so I'll see if I can grab this on camera. So this is the current one here.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that one. Or no, that's the 2011 version. Okay, here's the 2014 version.
Which so basically the first one was bevelly, right?
Yeah, if I don't know if you can
Kind
see it, but there's
some
a
bevel there.
a slight gradient to the colors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pointed here. Yeah.
Okay, that one.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, so you can see there's a slight gradient.
Yeah, yeah.
And then this one,
Ooh, look at that
Okay.
hard edge.
look at, they got rid of the soft gradient, now it's a hard gradient, right? So you can
Mhm.
hard edge shadows. Okay. And now you ready for this one?
Yeah.
This is the new one.
Wow, look at that.
No shadows.
None.
Just the colors. That's it.
Interesting.
That's it. So make sure you
How many man hours were spent on that?
I'm sure the entire Google design team sat and, pinned that one on the wall for
Yeah.
weeks, Why? I have no idea. Like what?
I'm sure a high-end brand agency was involved there too.
Yeah, they
That
probably
whole
ended up
effort?
outsourcing it.
Yeah.
Oh shoot. Anyway, it's a good laugh, but I think, I understand. Like we actually did a thing. We actually had one of the startups we were working with had a logo. It was an M, and we actually had to redo it because it ended up Google's Gmail
Oh yeah.
looked too much like it.
Yeah.
So anyway, we like to poke fun here a little bit.
All right. So it's a two-part Facebook
Oh yes. Tell me.
topic here.
Yes.
So
this is
first,
good.
the big news is, they lost users for the first time in their existence, right?
Yes.
So what does that say about Facebook? And I'm sure the stock went
Went
down.
Yeah,
Right.
it was one of the biggest stock losses in history as a
Wow.
result.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, I think they have like over 2 billion users. So, who's left? I guess there's 7 billion people on Earth. So,
Maybe they'll get people on the way into the horizons.
yeah,
Into the metaverse.
yeah, yeah.
I was playing around with it this weekend again, because that app we tried to download, the Horizon that said coming soon or whatever.
Yeah, it was like
it's
in a-
available now.
Oh,
Yeah, so I downloaded it, and because I had the Oculus profile set up, the onboarding wasn't that difficult,
mm-hmm.
but weird. You're just like, you're in there, and there's just like kids being stupid.
I think
Just
I
on
went
there.
there. Can you?
I was in like a theater.
Oh, you were in a theater. Okay.
It was mostly like switching channels,
Oh,
and every
okay.
channel you would go to was like in a different environment, like a theater or
Okay.
whatever. And then you see avatars floating around, and then they're just kids saying stupid stuff on there.
Right. Just goofing
Like,
off.
it's not real.
No.
Then it's gimmicky, and I don't know. I don't quite get it.
No.
I don't
No.
quite get it. So I think they're gonna have a challenge figuring that part out. I really hope somebody else comes along that's
Figures it out.
figures it out,
Yeah.
makes it a place where you want to at least check out
Right.
so often.
Well, there was a quote. I guess Bill Gates predicts that in 3 years, most business meetings are going to be done in the metaverse. 3
Yeah, I
years.
don't know
That's
about
pretty
that.
quick.
I don't know about that.
Well, you know what's going to happen is Apple's going to come in
You
and
got
show
you have
everybody
to
how
fix
to do it.
you have to fix that damn what do you call it, the motion thing. Like you can't have that thing strapped on your head for too long.
No, it's
You
heavy.
just can't do it.
It's too heavy.
Something else has to be figured out,
Yeah.
and maybe it will at some point. But
Yeah.
I mean, even I was in there, and they had the sort of that screen sharing feature where you can have your screen up. You can walk up to it, and like we can both be looking at the monitor. And,
Yeah.
and the concept is cool, but I'm like standing right by it, and I'm just like, this feels. My brain is like trying to process what I'm doing, and what I'm
Mhm.
seeing, and it just feels a little off.
Yeah.
And who would want to do that for 30 minutes or an hour
Yeah.
for a meeting?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't see it yet, but who knows?
Yeah.
What do I know?
Yeah.
Peter Thiel. Did you hear about Peter Thiel?
So I heard he stepped down from the board.
He did.
That's what I did hear.
Yeah.
Why?
Again, these are tweets, so take them for what they're worth.
Okay.
He's going to campaign for Trump.
No. Is he
Yes.
really?
That's what I was reading.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Wasn't he more of like a libertarian? I thought he was.
I
But
thought he was
he,
too.
He
but
did
I
stump
think
for Trump though back in.
I think he was a donor.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think so.
maybe a consultant of some sorts.
Man.
Crazy, right?
There
Crazy
you go.
times. Speaking of Peter Thiel, what do they call the PayPal, the gang or whatever? The mafia,
Yeah.
the PayPal mafia.
Uh-huh.
Like I just saw on that private group, the all-in one that I was telling you about,
Uh-huh.
somebody posted, so Chamath had said, this is below my line a few weeks ago, got him in trouble.
Yes.
And then it was a picture of Sachs, like jumping up in the air, an old picture.
Oh no.
And it says, this is above my line. But on the podcast, I was listening to it the other day, and he said he beat Peter Thiel in chess. But it wasn't a one-on-one. He was playing 10 people at a time. He was going from like
Peter
seat
Thiel
to
was?
seat. Yeah, and nobody could ever beat him. So out of 10 matches, Sachs was the only one that won.
Oh my gosh.
But it was a big deal. He was like jumping in the air, and then Peter Thiel's like angry, and then he would flip the board like when he would lose.
Dang.
But if you just think about like that whole thing, it's like the names and the people that came out of there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Peter Thiel, Sachs. I had no idea he was part of that.
I didn't
crew.
either.
Yeah.
Now that- yeah.
Elon.
And Elon.
And there's probably a list.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the guy from 500? Dave. Remember
Yeah. The guy who did
500 startups?
Yeah.
He was from PayPal.
Yep.
McClure.
Yes. Dave
Yeah.
McClure. Yeah.
So, anyways, thought that was fun.
So I'll throw
Speaking
it
of
in.
Elon.
Yeah. Speaking of Elon, so the Neuralink, which is the what is it? The AI, but plugs in your head kind
Yeah.
of thing. They're finally starting human trials, or they're about to.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have what kind of approval they have to get.
Yeah, if you haven't read or watched anything on Neuralink, just Google it or just type it in YouTube. That stuff is
It's
fascinating. It's
crazy.
crazy. They had to get a robot, so they had to like basically invent a robot to
Uh-huh.
do the surgery.
Yes.
So and it's supposed to be what do you call it, inpatient or
Outpatient. Yeah.
procedure.
Yeah.
So you'll go in and this robot will drill a hole in your head, basically through your skull,
Yes.
the size of a hair, and then.
Mm.
So it's very tiny little hole, and then it will insert the wires, which I don't know how many wires there is, but it's smaller. They're smaller. The group of wires is smaller than the hole, which is a hair strand.
Wow.
And then the robot inserts the wires into whatever part of the brain, and then the device I think sits outside your head
Uh-huh.
somewhere.
That's right. So you can upgrade it.
Yeah.
That's
And
what
it's
they said. He
Bluetooth.
talked about it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can upgrade it.
And it's Bluetooth enabled, and you connect it to your phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
It's crazy.
super crazy. I think, as far as I understand this, human trials more for people that have like spinal injuries or
Yeah.
people that can't walk or had to relearn to do things.
Yeah.
That's supposed to like, I don't know,
Yeah.
help figure that out.
Yeah.
But really, I don't know, man. Stuff gets wild.
Yeah.
You know, the way I explain it to people, the way that I see it playing out potentially is when you read something, like you basically, like Elon said, we're cyborgs now, right? In the way he explains it, because we have this thing in our hand
All the time.
all the time. We don't
Right.
live life without it now, which means
Right.
we have all the information we could ever want or need here.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lag because it takes time to get the information. The lag isn't long. We're talking about seconds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey Siri, tell
Yeah.
me whatever it is. What's the weather? Whatever information you want. And then your brain has to register it by either looking at it or hearing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things that tell the brain the information. But if this thing's Bluetooth connected to your brain
Mm-hmm.
via Neuralink, wouldn't the information just be in your
could.
brain?
I think so. The way I understand it,
That's crazy.
slightly different, but maybe I think your application would probably work. But the way I sort of understand it is you'll essentially over time be able to learn to control things outside of, like, almost as if you had a third arm. And eventually, like, it'll just sit, you know, like you see these people with prosthetics.
Yeah.
And they sort of have to stare at it, and eventually it'll start twitching, and then they'll teach it like how to work. That's because they're rewiring their own brain. Like, they're sending a signal to a different part that, you know, causes a reaction. And eventually they teach it that, you know, this, when I think this is this finger. So I kind of see a time when that seems to be where they're really pushing it, so that when at a certain point, I think what you think and see in your head or want to say or whatever will just happen, you know? So it's, and then you can probably converse back and forth. I don't know, but as if I need
and
more
you said
voices in my head.
AI could be that it learns it faster,
Yeah.
right? Because you're teaching it.
Right.
And then the brain, how, you know, everybody's different, right? When they're relearning things. But the chip could potentially do it way faster too.
Yeah.
If it's like teaching itself, right? Okay, I think this is what he wants to do, and then it trains the brain to do it faster. I have no idea. It's crazy though. Human trials, no more pigs.
No more pigs.
The pig trial was interesting too.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
All right, let's end with the Super Bowl. What's going on the Super Bowl?
Yeah, this weekend. The Rams.
Crypto.com.
The CryptoBowl.
Coinbase, FTX.
Yes.
They're calling it the Crypto Bowl.
Calling it the CryptoBowl.
So we're going to see a lot of ads.
Yeah.
A lot of crypto ads.
Right.
Now, is this going to drive the prices to go back up?
That's probably the intent, right? Get in now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I think it's really just trying to make it mainstream.
Yep.
You know? They have just money to burn right now. I mean, what is it? The Staples Center? What is it called now? Didn't they rename it?
I think so. Not sure. Isn't there a crypto.com stadium too?
I think so. I think
Is it not that one?
Maybe it is.
Yeah. Because there is one.
Yeah. So they're just burning money. And they know they want to just be the industry leader because they know that's where it's headed. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So no one's, they haven't leaked the commercials. You know how everyone likes to, like, right around now, they'll put out all the commercials that everyone's doing so you can kind of watch them. So they haven't released any of them yet. So we'll see. But yeah.
Think there'll be a Doge commercial? I don't think they have enough money.
Elon just does it. He'll probably do something funny that night. And
I'm curious too if the Super Bowl is doing any NFT stuff. I feel like they would.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Well, I think they have all that stuff in their archives. And, I mean, trading cards alone. I mean, there's a market. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So, anyway, yeah.
There you have it, folks.
That's what's up.
We'll catch you next week. Thank you.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Bye. Easy peasy.